You're listening to EFT Radio Online, where we explore meridian tapping techniques for self-help and peak performance. By listening to this audio, you agree to the disclaimer located at EFTRadioOnline.com/disclaimer. If you'd like to get the schedule of all the upcoming EFT radio shows and access to archive shows, please visit us at EFTRadioOnline.com, where you can subscribe to our free newsletter.
Welcome to EFT for your inner child and soul with best-selling author Cathryn Taylor. Known as the mother of inner child work, Cathryn is dedicated to teaching you her innovative EFT technique called interactive tapping. Interactive tapping combines Cathryn's 26 years of experience guiding you in the discovery of your inner child with EFT sequences. This combination empowers you to take responsibility for your own healing. Cathryn is a licensed marriage and family therapist and addictions counselor and is certified by EFT master Lindsay Kenny. Tune in every other week as Cathryn teaches you how to tap your way through addictions to abundance, through fear to faith, betrayal to trust. And now I'm proud to introduce you to the mother of inner child work, Cathryn Taylor.
Greetings and welcome. Welcome to the first broadcast of 2018, and I'm real excited about this year. There's a nice energy of our being able to literally make sense of the chaos. So I don't know if you've been feeling this, but boy, the energy in 2017, it was real sporadic, it was real fragmented, it was real global. It felt like we were having to deal with a lot of mass energy. And everything that I've read and heard about 2018, it's not that the chaos subsides, but what does seem possible is that we're in a much better place to really be targeted with it. To take the external chaos and just hone it in and bring it into our world. So today what I want to talk about is how you really stay in the eye of the storm. Because there are going to be continuous storms outside of our control. And the only way that we can contribute not only to the peace within us and to standing in the true essence of who we really are, but also the only way we can stand in the eye of the storm with everything that's going on outside of us is to come back into our center. So a lot of the focus, which is going to give us the specificity and the ability to target everything that feels out of control within and without, is to stay centered. So this is a year that we're really invited to heal the shame regarding our desires. It's like everything that we desire is within our reach. Everything that we really want to manifest, if we stay focused, is within our reach. If any of you got into the whole Star Wars that was very pervasive during the whole holiday season, it really was a nice reminder of the fact that the force is within us. The force is around us. And we can make use of that universal energy. We have a right to have our desires. We have a right to have everything that we want manifest. But the only way we can do it is to stay in our center. The only way we can do it is to heal the shame that's associated with our desires. The only way we can heal it is to come out of the shadows and to be your real self in the middle of the chaos. We're not going to be able to do this by avoiding or stepping out of or protecting ourselves from the chaos. Now the task is to stay in the chaos and hold the balance for ourselves and the planet at large and for all those in our lives that we love and honor and regard. So our task is simple, it's single-focused, and it's possible. We all have the tools at hand to really come back to the center. What our real task is to just be mindful of when we step out of that center and accountable for getting ourselves back in it. We don't have to diagnose it. We don't have to get to the bottom of it. Energetically, we just want to come back to that center. And the rest will be revealed. If there's inner children that need to be brought into the fold, that will be revealed. But you can't reveal what's distracting you from that center without being back in the center. So if an inner child's gotten triggered, the best thing you can do is to step away from that trigger, come back into your illuminated adult self, and then from that expanded vibration, respond to the inner child and bring him or her back. It's the same with the fragment of the soul. It's the same with your body being out of balance. I know that during the holidays, I was much more triggered by different foods that I don't usually eat, and so it was harder for me to stay on track. It was harder for me to get back on track. But once I began to really hold myself accountable for what I was putting in my mouth, then the rest was revealed. And I got back to my center. And that's what we're really being invited to do. Again, the task is simple. You stay centered and you notice when you're not centered. We have to really learn how to let go of the burdens of our fears. Now, I love that statement. That came from a podcast that I just listened to from my astrology buddy, D.K. Brainerd. And the term he really used was, quote, learn to let go of the burdens of our fears. And as Bradshaw long ago said, there is no security in the physical plane. We've got to go vertical. We've got to go to our higher self. We have to expand into that higher vibrational essence that's all around us. That's part of our force. That's our individual relationship to that force energy. And then it expands to the global and universal energy. But we have to start within us. So we need to learn how to embrace the suffering around us and really breathe beyond it into all the possibilities. And not only for ourselves, but as we interact with those that we love, to really see them in their magnificence. It's so easy to kind of collapse into feeling the victimization of those that we love if they're really struggling. And yet we contribute to their struggling if we don't hold that higher vision for themselves. So what I really want to work with today is assisting you in tuning into the beauty and see everything working out, not only for self, but for those that you love and for the planet itself. That you just kind of stay with that higher vision. There is support for perfection in all that's around us. We just have to vibrationally tune into it. And this is a year where we really have to make a choice. We have to make a choice as to what side of the fence we're going to really operate on. And to be accountable. It's not that you're going to dip into feeling stressed, feeling chaotic, feeling the suffering of the world as well as your own. But there's such an avenue to come into everything is working out for you. To come into that mindset. You can do it with tapping. We're going to do a bit of tapping today. The other thing that I've revisited that I'm really excited about is the EMDR. Now, I was trained in EMDR 2 decades ago, and I've, pulled away from it and went for EFT mainly because I didn't like the fact that it was so dependent on a practitioner. And when I went to investigate it again, it's like there's all of these really beautiful EMDR self-administered YouTubes now. There's one that I like that you can tune into by just going into EMDR Celestial. And it's just a star. I like the rhythm of that. Some of the self-administered EMDRs are so quick that this one just has a nice pace. And when I'm trying to move through my distractions, I'll just follow the star back and forth, and I'll just state what the distraction is. And pretty soon I've kind of rewired my brain to move out of that, and then I'll just say, it's all up to me. It's all up to me. It's all up to me. Now, on this podcast, I can't emulate that with an MP3 because you're using your eyes to desensitize the situation. But I really encourage you to use the tapping to neutralize the energy and to come back into a state of balance. And then to follow it up with a rewiring of the brain. And in the description of this podcast, I'll put a link to that EMDR Celestial YouTube that I'm talking about so that you'll be able to make access to it. The other thing that I'm doing in my work that's really exciting, and I can do this on a Skype session or if I'm seeing you one-to-one, is this new procedure that I use to basically reprogram the cellular memory that the subconscious mind is working with. And I use tapping and I use the EMDR to do that. But I can do that more effectively in a one-to-one session. That's not something I can effectively do in a podcast. But I wanted to tell you about that because it is a year that the support is there for you. And I wanted you to know how I'm designing a session that can assist you in that. So if you're interested in that, call me. We can set up the 15-minute free talk, the free assessment that I always offer at the end of everything. And we'll talk about whether that would be a process that would be useful to you. You can just contact me at 612-710-7720. But for right now, I want to get into the tapping. I want to get into some of the clearing so that we can begin to use some of what I talked about at the beginning of this broadcast and really integrate it with the tapping. So if you have never tapped with me before, I encourage you to just listen to the sequences and work with it accordingly and use it as a meditation. And then at the end of the broadcast, go to my website, which is www.eftforyourinnerchild.com. Go to the tab that says Interactive Tapping Explained. There's 2 videos there. One is by Gary Craig. If you've never done tapping, it's an excellent introduction to EFT. And the second one is talking about interactive tapping and kind of my expanded view of how to use tapping to work with that relationship. And I go back and forth between interactive tapping and traditional tapping, not only in my broadcast, but also in my work. But that will help you understand my signature tapping method that I'll go into a little bit in this broadcast, or you'll experience a little bit. I deal with basically the relationship is what it's called. And we work with the relationship between the adult self and the body, or the adult self and the inner child, or the adult self and an expanded fragment of your soul. So we go into it whatever way we need to with the relationship. All right, so without further ado, again, I want to encourage you that if there's anything in the tapping that gets a little uncomfortable, then reword it according to what works for you. Whatever I'm saying, in the infinite wisdom of your psyche, it'll take it right to where you need to work with it. All right, so we're going to take a little bit of a break, and during that few seconds, that few minutes, a few seconds really, I just want you to hydrate. We're working with the electrical circuitry of the body, so I want you to take a pause and get a drink of water, and then we'll come back into the tapping.
Do you like what you hear? If you want to hear more about how to discover your true potential, enrich your relationship with yourself and others, and increase your ability to succeed, you may want to consider taking advantage of one of Cathryn's many online programs. Cathryn is not only the author of 5 books, including her best-selling The Inner Child Workbook, which just celebrated its 20th year in publication, but she has also recorded numerous audios, has developed 7 ebooks, each available through her website, and has over 100 videos available on YouTube. To experience a lifestyle coaching session with Cathryn via Skype, phone, or in person, call 612-710-7720. And now, back to EFT for your inner child with Cathryn Taylor.
Okay, so welcome back. Welcome back to EFT for your inner child and your soul. And we're going to do the tapping now. So I encourage you to come to the karate and repeat after me. Even though there's been a lot of chaos, both inside and out, I now choose to come into the center of my being. I choose to breathe through the suffering, to embrace the suffering, to allow the possibilities to emerge. So even though last year was somewhat hectic, I have great hope for moving in to this new beginning. And I want to seize the opportunity to let go of the burden of my fears, to allow those to be dissolved. I choose to come into a state of expansion and faith, putting my trust in the universe and in my expanded self. So even though I may have shame regarding my desires, or fear, or anger, or mistrust, I choose to come out of the shadows of those emotions, to step into my real self, to stand in the center of the eye of the storm around me and hold the balance for faith, hope, peace, and love, not only for myself, but for those that I love and for the world at large. All right, take a deep breath. Take a drink of water. Rub your hands together. And let's start on the first point. First, we're going to neutralize what was, move in to the possibilities. All of this chaos. Boy, I'm glad the new year has begun. A lot of fragmentation, a lot of fear, shame, anger, disregard. All of those emotions of my lower self. The part of me that sabotages with no malicious intent. I just got out of balance. I got sucked into the drama within me, around me, in response to others. But in the energy of the full moon, I illuminate my shadow. I come into a state of well-being. I expand. I feel the energy of my higher self. I am willing to move beyond my suffering. I am willing to move through the suffering of the world and stay centered enough to envision the possibilities. I now put down to rest all of my fears and concerns. I come into the knowingness that everything is always working out for me. And I want to hold the intention for those that I love. I am a conduit for faith, hope, peace, and love. I stand in the center of the storm. I calm the waters within me and around me. For I have all of these tools at my disposal. I know how to breathe and let go. I know how to envision the expansion of all around me. I know how to use the tapping to make use of the tools that are on YouTube, that are offered to me from other practitioners, that are given to me from my support system in the unseen. I am surrounded by support. If I choose to look through the lens of expansion, I can expand and see the world through the eyes of my higher self. I choose now to look beyond the circumstances in my life. I choose now, in 2018, and from now on, to make happiness my goal. When I can come back to a state of peace and calm and breathe into that vibration of joy and happiness, my life works. And I can always return to that state of mind and welcome back into the fold any aspects of me that have vibrationally gotten out of sync. I am the master of my universe. I am confident to step into my most masterful self. And I'm willing and able to bring all dimensions within me, from this physical form or from lifetimes of the past, into the fold as well. I am the mentor for my wounded ones. I clearly am the one that they have been waiting for. And if I breathe beyond my burdens, if I move and embrace the suffering, I can expand beyond it and see the possibilities. See the light within me and the light within others. Everything is always working out for me. And therefore, I can envision everything working out for all those within me and all of those around me. When I look and see chaos or suffering, God only knows what the purpose of that is. It does not have to be my concern. When things go awry in my world, God only knows what the bigger picture is. All I need to do is get back on board with my soul's intent. I am so ready to expand and to feel that energy around me and within me. I am willing to be accountable, mindful. I'm willing to do the work. Because with a certain attitude, it's no work at all. It's a matter of just expanding into the vibration of my higher self. 2018 is going to be a magnificent year. And I am ready to do my part. Take a deep breath. Boy, if we can just show up in that way, and we can show up for not only those in our lives, but those within us, those parts within us that want to get attached and go into the drama. And it's not bad that we do that. It's just an opportunity to once again come into the center and expand, breathe, let go, and come back to the essence of our true self. So this is going to be a good year. I can just feel it. And I'm going to be here episode after episode supporting you on this journey. So welcome. Welcome to 2018. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. And we're finally in a position to arrive. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Until next time, be good to you and to those you love.
Thank you for tuning into EFT for Your Inner Child with best-selling author Cathryn Taylor on EFT Radio Online. You can listen live right here every other week, and you can also find information on Cathryn's programs and services, which feature her innovative tapping technique, by logging on to www.eftforyourinnerchild.com.